racing to prevent a potentially catastrophic explosion after a tank holding thousands of gallons of a toxic and highly flammable chemical began overheating at an aerospace facility in Orange County. The team has been using some live pictures of it just there. It's very dark. You can kind of just see some water being poured on it. California Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency on Saturday as crews continue their efforts to cool and stabilize the tank. CNN's Veronica Miracle reports for us.
Well, this is a race against time, according to officials who say there are two potentially very bad outcomes that could happen here. The first being that thousands of gallons of a toxic chemical could leak out and spill into the area. The second being a catastrophic explosion. Of course, officials are trying to make sure that neither of those things happen. Fire crews have been working to spray water on the tanks to try and cool them down, but we heard from officials that apparently that hasn't been working. They say that the chemical has been increasing in temperature about a degree an hour. So at Friday morning, it was about 77 degrees, and by Saturday morning, it was about 90 degrees. Officials did talk about what could potentially happen if there was the worst-case scenario explosion to happen. Take a listen to what they had to say.
So if this tank fails and we have an explosion, these represent our blast zone. The innermost circle represents areas where we can expect severe structural damage and significant harm. Beyond that, you'll see an orange oblong. That represents areas that are immediately dangerous to life and health, where it would cause injury if anybody inhales or is impacted by the product in question. And then the yellow is our non-hazardous zone, which is our odor threshold. This product has a very low odor threshold and can be smelt very easily, so that's why that representation is very large, but again, it is non-hazardous at that level.
MMA, the chemical in question, is a chemical used to manufacture plastics, and officials say smelling it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad for your health. However, residents in the area have apparently been reporting some issues like dizziness and other respiratory issues. It could potentially be hazardous to your health. About 15% of people in the evacuation zone actually have not left the area. They're refusing to leave. But officials say if you are outside of the evacuation red zone, then that there are no concerns to your health and that you don't even need to be wearing a mask. So that is the good news. Now, what officials are hoping will happen is that they will be able to cool the chemical enough that it will harden from the outside in, and they will be able to neutralize this issue. But there is no guarantee that that's going to happen. Of course, officials monitoring this every step of the way and communicating every step of the way. Back to you.
For more, I want to bring in Dr. Elaine Bernal, a